My questions is, what's your favorite Seinfeld episode?
I've only seen 2 seasons of Seinfeld,
Actually,
but
that's not true. That's not true.
oh,
I'm
okay.
not gonna ask you that question. Everyone knows.
It's not the opera.
It's not. Do you actually? Well,
No,
I'm kind of curious. Well, I want to know just for.
I don't know if I would have a favorite episode. The opera is a very good episode, but I don't think that'd be my favorite.
Off the record.
No, it's probably the season 4 episode where Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza get in trouble because they look at their boss's 14-year-old daughter's breast.
Oh. Oh my God.
Yeah, no,
That's real.
It's an awful episode. It's terrible. You know?
Season 4 sounds terrible, and I've only heard about 2 episodes.
Season 4 is
Yes.
Season 4 is, I think, as far as the comedy goes, it's a better season than the other season I've seen, which is season 7. But I like season 7 more just because it's wackier.
The reason why you watched just those 2 seasons?
Yeah, I looked up seasons ranked, and I think 7, 4, and 5 are considered the best 3 seasons.
That's interesting.
So I'm gonna go to season 5 later.
I would have thought from just the ones that I've seen, because on the channel that I've got on cable, they only ever show seasons 1, 2, and 3. I've never seen anything past that. People liked those.
I think season 1's supposed to be the worst.
Really?
I mean, that's the case with a lot of sitcoms, because the first season is like before they get into their groove.
So, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, we can start now, I think.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Language.
No, see, that's my funny thing that I do, is I just burp constantly.
That's great. That sounds kind of like you ever seen that show with what's his he's a doctor and he has a grandson turned into a pickle.
Yeah, Rigor Mortis.
Rigor Mortis, I love that show.
Yeah.
I have a very special guest with me today. He runs why can't I sound normal?
I thought that was good. Maybe go a little slower. I have a very special guest today, like that. Don't quite speed it out so fast. Maybe.
Yeah, my very special guest is also my voice coach. He keeps me grounded. I want to welcome our listeners behind the bar to another special episode of our Monkey Time Sister series. My name is Matt Bear. I run @BaboonJones on Twitter.com. I have a very special guest with me today. He runs Seymour Skinner in a Jungle. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Harrison Caltagirone.
That's me. Hello.
Hello.
Forgot to mention my 40 other accounts, but
I mentioned the good one. Well, so the one that everyone knows you for is Seymour Skinner.
Yes.
That's for a damn good reason, because you put a lot of work into that account, and it shows. There's a glimmering beacon of the hard work that goes into Jungle Thick accounts.
I'm not sure about that.
But definitely. Set the standard.
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
It's one of the things that not everyone knows is that Jungle Thick is kind of a mess behind the scenes, and at the helm of it all, keeping us in shape, is one man.
Well,
and
it's
that
just
man's
because
name is
I think
Harrison
the most
School.
irritating of you, and I nag you a lot.
That's the good thing. Someone has to. The rest of us are all just kind of like, wouldn't it be cool if the monkeys had superpowers? And you're the one like making it work for us. So.
Well, thank you.
It's hard to show appreciation. Yeah, no, of course. Really, truly. I don't think we would have gotten as far with anything that we've been doing if it wasn't for our buddy Harrison over here.
I don't know.
So, yeah.
Maybe, but I don't know. You're all good. You did Jones' Big Day Off. That was an arc without me.
I can watch that. It was kind of a mess, you know.
I don't know.
You go back and look at it. Iconic in its own way, but it was a bit messy for sure.
I mean, it wasn't... Okay, yeah, go on.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Day so far?
No.
Okay. Well, we can talk about Jungle Thick instead then.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
it's good.
It's just a great way to just avoid all of your problems.
Absolutely. Very healthy way as well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, just completely... This never happened.
Yeah. Okay.
So, the last Behind the Bar, I don't know if you listened in on the whole thing, but we talked about beginnings, the origin of Jungle Thick, and some of the most prominent members weren't there from the start. You know, they came in later on, and I'd say a lot of people helped get it off the ground, and again, you know, a lot of people kept it off the ground, right? And that definitely includes you. So I'm wondering what is your earliest memory of Jungle Thick? where do you remember starting
Well,
off?
somehow I discovered Milk Ape. I don't really remember the exact circumstances. I don't think I knew there was a jungle fic except Plush Monkey, who I know in real life. Uh, we went to high school together when we were in high school. Um, they introduced me to jungle fic. I just saw them like I don't remember what happened, but they mentioned like talking to Milk Ape, and I was like, oh wait, you know Milk Ape? The big large gimmick Twitter account, and they were like, yeah, I know Milk Ape. I'm in his server, and I was like, oh, there's a server. So then I joined the
Nice.
server, and that was the story.
Yeah, it seems like most people's stories about how they started discovering it all was just kind of like, I don't know, I blacked out one time and then I woke up and suddenly I knew what Jungle Thick was. Like,
Yeah,
no,
now I'm a
no one really
monkey.
knows like the exact moment.
I woke up and I was yellow.
I fell out of a plane in the sky. I think out of most of the people who are on Jungle Thick, yours is one of the best origin stories.
Like my
At least one
character
of-
origin story or my origin story?
I guess I meant Seymour, like the way
Oh,
the
yeah,
way he was kind of like, you know, oh, they're all dead.
He was in a plane crash where he and Seymour Skinner was going on a field trip to Vienna, along with I don't think I clarified it was Vienna before. I think I just made that up now. No, it was just Austria, just the general area of Austria.
Right?
He was on a field trip to Austria with Springfield Elementary, and the plane crashed while they were on the way there, which was Skinner's fault, and
Okay.
they all died except for Seymour Skinner.
Well, I remember-
he killed every child in Springfield, inadvertently, not on purpose, but yeah.
Remember the first posts you were making about that and how it was like that was all implied but it wasn't really fleshed out, and then help me remember which arc was it that you decided to flesh that out? That was like an actual
Yeah.
flashback scene, right?
So yeah, in there, I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but
Cool.
during the initial DKCU arc with the DKCU, I made a video where Skinner, he's like, "Oh, this reminds me of the time I came to the jungle," and there's a flashback to he's on the plane on the field trip to Austria, and Bart puts a tack on his chair, which causes Skinner to jump up, and somehow that crashes the plane.
You put a hole in the ceiling, right? I can't remember. Or whatever.
I don't know, something like that.
It was great. I feel like maybe you even did mention that you were going to Vienna.
Vienna? Okay, then I was right the first time.
I don't know. It just sounded perfect. It sounded right to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's another
Yeah.
question for you. Where did the idea to use Seymour Skinner as your character come from?
Okay, so a little information about the Jungle Thick Discord server. It's very different now than it was back then. Last year, basically, someone would join, and then they would change their nickname in the server to some stupid animal name. Like we had Wombat, who I'm sure you know, and we had a Monastery Vulture, and things
Right.
like that. And
That's how Joan got his start too.
so, oh yeah, really? Okay, so we all started out there.
Huh.
I joined the server and I saw a bunch of people posting like, "Oh, I wonder what this new member is going to change their nickname to," and I was like, "Oh gosh, I don't know." And then I looked, and my Discord username is Seymour Skinner but gay, and I said, "Okay, well I'll be Seymour Skinner in a jungle." And then I came in and I said, like, "Where am I? Ho ho," or something like that. And yeah, so that's why I decided on that character. It was completely random. Not even a particularly huge fan of the character. It's just funny.
That's another thing is that since interacting with you as Seymour Skinner, I've developed an appreciation for him on the show. Like it's criminal how much he's not actually in the show. Like he's a very minor
absolutely.
character, and every interaction he has in that show is just gold. I love it.
Yeah, I know. He's very funny. He doesn't do a lot of stuff, but he's a very funny character. One of my favorite scenes is the scene where he buys a tie rack from Marge. It's a very funny scene.
Oh, I haven't seen that scene.
Yeah, he doesn't want it, but he buys it anyway. I don't remember what was funny about it, but there was something funny about it, I'm sure.
My favorite Seymour Skinner moment on the show There's an episode. It's all about how he loses his job as a principal. Chalmers comes in and the school's in disarray, and he decides to fire him. And he goes, "Seymour, you're fired." And Seymour's like, "Excuse me, did you just call me a liar?" And he said, "No, you're fired." And Seymour's like, "Oh, that's way worse." I don't know, but I love it because he's like, he gets all defensive.
It's just something about the way he talks and like the way he like,
no, it's great
mid conversation. There's
so much purpose.
So funny about that fellow.
Oh, and his whole thing where like he's such this like he's well put together, right? He's kind of like, oh well, I'm doing this today and it's all this, but like he's got all this tragic backstory about going to the war and stuff that you would never have assumed.
Yeah.
He's not like this hardened guy. He's just kind of like he's got all that stuff. He's got all that baggage.
Yeah, I've always liked how he's a good combination of very idealistic. He has honor and he knows what he values in life and he sticks to those values. But he's also really stupid, so he's bad at doing it. I think it's a very good combination.
Can't get through this episode without mentioning the steamed hams bit.
Yeah, it's a good bit.
It's honestly like jokes, all those jokes aside, it's a really funny scene. Like I really enjoy it.
It's very good. There's a reason it became a meme, because it's funny.
Would you like to try and reenact the entire scene from memory?
It's going to be very difficult.
I will be Chalmers. I don't have the entire thing, I don't think, memorized, but I did that on purpose.
I have almost none of it memorized, but we can try. I probably know a tiny bit, but I was never even super into the meme to begin with, so like...
There was a point in my life when I could do the entire thing, but that time has long since passed.
Okay,
no, like, that was when it was at its peak.
We can
2016.
try. We can try it. Let's attempt.
Alright, so...
I think Chalmers rings the doorbell first, yeah.
Yeah, and then I go, "Well, Seymour, I made it, despite your directions."
Oh, Superintendent Chalmers, I hope you are prepared for an unforgettable luncheon.
Then you go to the kitchen.
Follow me!
I don't know that that's part of it.
No, that's the part where he flies through the house, making a gesturing motion and says, "Follow me!" And
right.
And then he floats into the kitchen, and he sticks his head in the oven, and he says, "Oh, ye gods, my roast is ruined."
Uh-huh.
And then I think Chalmers comes into the room. No.
No, you're missing the whole bit.
Is this? What if I go over to Crunchy Burger and buy some fast food and disguise it as my own cooking? Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
That's perfect. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, and then I start to straddle the window, very seductively.
And Chalmers walks in, and he goes, "Ah!" And
and then there's the sing song, with crazy explanations. Superintendent's gonna need his Valium.
Lame exaggerations, there'll be trouble in town tonight. Seymour.
Oh, Superintendent, I was just stretching my calves on the windowsill. Just stretching my anus, and then he goatsies. It's a big yellow goatsy.
Oh god. Why is there smoke coming out of your oven, Seymour?
Oh, that's not smoke, that's steam from the steamed clams we're having.
Yeah?
Steamed clams. then he shoves...
This has gone way better than I expected.
Then he shoves Superintendent out of the kitchen and he flies out the window.
That's right. That does happen.
Yeah, it's exactly.
So I'm in the living room now, or the dining room.
Yeah, not the living room. Idiot. Why would they be eating steamed hams in the living room?
Of course. I thought we were having steamed clams.
No, I said steamed hams.
Yeah?
Steamed ham.
Oh, I'm losing it. Okay. I can't remember what happens next.
Superintendent Chalmers, would you like to see these lights in my kitchen?
Good lord, what is happening in there?
No.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must say you steam a good ham.
Seymour, the house is burning. No, mother, that's just the Northern Lights. And then the end credits play.
That's right.
No, I think that's actually where they have the dance party finale.
No, yeah. Then
Yeah.
all the characters from the show come in.
Yeah, and they
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 die.
dance to "Can't Stop the Feeling."
And the one character who was quiet and reserved the whole movie decides to kind of let loose during this part and dance with everyone else.
Yeah, and he twerks.
And Seymour looks off to the right, and the ghosts of his father and his master are watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's right. That's how it goes. Oh, I love Steamed Hams. That was a great film.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm so glad we did that just now.
Some people say
Okay.
the third Steamed Hams is not quite as good as the first two, but personally, I think that while it is the weaker entry, it has some of the best moments in the series.
Yeah, the original trilogy was pretty good, but I liked the reboot. Might be alone on this hill, but it was a good reboot.
I think the Steamed Hams reboot is okay, except a little organized.
Yeah. So let's get back to being regular human beings for a second.
Okay.
When you first started out, Seymour Skinner, and I'm talking about like with the Twitter account,
Yes.
making posts and stuff. Did you think that you would be with it for as long as you have been?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I really remember if I did or not.
Yeah, because
I think-
that's
I think I plan to be here as long as the jungle is around.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah,
this,
that's
tra-
similar
this,
to
tra-
what-
this train I'm on don't stop.
it's similar to what Wood Ape said. He was like, probably for as long as everyone else is doing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So, been with this for probably over a year now, I think.
Yeah.
Along
Because
the way,
I
did you ever?
it started like March, I think. No, late April.
Yeah, most people started in April,
Mhm.
around the time. So, along the way, along all of your adventures and stuff, have you ever thought maybe that you wanted to change something permanently about Skinner, about Seymour Skinner? Ongoing arcs notwithstanding.
I don't think anything. I mean, nothing is truly permanent. It's like comic books. Like if I change my mind
Mhm.
later, I can just change it. I can just bring a character back to life. But I mean, there's definitely things that I have changed that are semi-permanent, even if they're not permanent. They were. I mean, it's not a change you can go back from. Like when I killed off the beloved Freddy Freaker.
Oh, of course, rest in peace.
And
God rest his soul.
something like that is going to happen soon. I don't want to spoil it, but and depending on when this comes out, it may have already happened. But yeah. Oh, actually, no, I already did it. I forgot. I did it already. I had Skinner's arm cut off. So I don't think I would ever change something major about the account because, like, what would be the point? I might as well just make a new account at that point. I'm not going to replace Skinner with another character or anything like that.
Yeah. Some people think to do that. I don't really know an example of when it's gone well or perfect.
Yeah,
right?
I've done it, but only on like smaller accounts because once you have like a certain number of people who are there to follow Skinner, it would feel kind of like a betrayal to to like make it into something that they didn't sign up for.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So you are a unique case in the community of sorts, and we're all unique. But I mean that in a way where it's like you're both like you started out in Jungle Thick, and from the start you were never a monkey. You were never like a specific jungle account, and that's fine. The jungle doesn't really necessarily have rules about that. But you are probably the best example of someone who walks the line between like both being a part of like parody arcs and stories as well as a prominent Jungle Thick member.
Yeah.
What's that like for you?
Well, it's kind of weird because it's sort of like it's never a consistent feeling. Like sometimes I'm doing something where I feel like I'm part of the jungle. Other times I'm doing things where I feel like I'm part of the like grander parody community. There's never a point where I truly feel like I'm both. I just kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always more jungle than the other, I think, but I never feel like I'm really straddling that line. I just kind of, I go back and forth.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool.
Funny. I never intended to do anything with parody Twitter. I didn't even know that it existed when I started a jungle account. I just thought, well, everyone else here is a monkey. Wouldn't it be kind of funny and novel if I was something other than a monkey, like a yellow principal? And
it's interesting how that worked out because in the end, because Jungle Thick never really started with the idea of being a parody thing.
Yeah.
But the way it lined up for specifically, I think Seymour Skinner was that you're someone who someone would definitely make a parody about. Like if you hadn't done this with Jungle Thick, somebody might have done a Seymour Skinner along the line in a parody.
Yeah, I discovered parody accounts in the TKCU through Woodape, I think, because he was doing Kong Space stuff, and you were too. But I think I first saw it through Woodape, and I was like, oh, there's a whole thing going on. And then I think I discovered the Yoshi account, and I thought, this is really bizarre. I don't like this at all. I like Yoshi now, but back then I don't think I liked parody accounts very much. It was
everyone's opinions have changed.
It was just when I started doing it was during Urban Sprawl where I was like, well, I might as well try to branch out a little bit.
Right, yeah. I'd like to go over at some point, how that kind of started, because again, Jungle Thick and parody Twitter were different things altogether when this first started out, and it really was Kong Space that kind of brought them together. And I remember, I don't know what it would have been, maybe the fact that Donkey Kong was at the helm of it and he was a monkey and he was on Twitter, and that was enough for some people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting how that worked out, but we can talk a little bit about one of the stories that kind of definitely brought Seymour into the light at the beginning of his lifespan, and that definitely would be Ape Avengers 1 or the Urban Sprawl story. I
usually call it Urban Sprawl because that was kind of the Skinner arc, whereas when it turned into Ape Avengers, then it was all jungle.
Yeah,
so to refer to Skinner's part, I usually just call it Urban Sprawl.
So we'll talk about Urban Sprawl then.
Yeah.
So how'd you get the idea for it?
The idea, okay. So two things. Actually, three things. One, there used to be a Jungle Fruit Bat account that left, and they did a much shorter thing than Urban Sprawl, where their bat was taken over by a lich, who the lich captured the bat and kept it in a cage or something like that. And,
right, no, I remember that.
Yeah, and the lich took over the account and became a villain for a bit. And
oh my god! I totally forgot.
Yeah, and Milkape interacted with it and it was like, "Jungle, help fight evil lich." And I was like,
That's
"Wow,
right.
Maybe if I do a villain conversion, Milkape will interact with me too." So, a week later, I did it. But it was a complete ripoff of Bat. But whatever. But the other two things that contributed to it were, I said there were three things. Now I can only remember two. The other one was, I remember what the other two things now. Okay, so, I was going, and then there used to be this group chat that, basically, me and, Roach, who was not a roach, but, large orange ape back then.
Yes,
both of us had been suspended, for saying the word TERF in tweets. So we made a group chat basically just to rage about how much we hate TERFs. And there were some other monkeys in there. And it turned into a really weird, semi-roleplay. I don't know if you would consider it roleplay because it was more ironic. It wasn't, fully hearted roleplay, but I guess we'd still call it roleplay. Basically, we went to war with Jack Twitter, and in that group chat, Skinner died and came back as a cyborg. So I thought, well, maybe I can implement this into my actual account's lore without having to reference the events of this terrible, terrible group chat. So I came up with all of that stuff. And then the other thing is that the third thing is just that I've always been into like cyborg characters and evil robot characters.
Yeah.
Specifically robots turning other people into robots or cyborgs. I've always just thought that sort of media is really cool. Specifically, I was listening to, just a coincidence that I was listening to these two songs. One is a grime song that I forget the name of, which is about cyborg assimilation of the human race. And then
can I guess the other one?
Guess it.
Is it Cabinet Man?
No, it's Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai. which is
Oh,
about
I don't know
like
that one.
technology eventually taking over. So
I
just
thought I had a good guess.
by coincidence, I was listening to those, and I was like, yeah, well, this would make a pretty good plot. Yeah, so I
There
did
you
that.
go. I knew about that group chat, but I never knew it had such a. I never knew it inspired urban sprawl so much.
Yeah, I wish it didn't, because it's kind of embarrassing. It's super bizarre. It was a really bizarre
mean-
group chat.
I like the Jack Twitter joke. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite jokes. I think
Yeah.
just like ever is like oh it's Joe Microsoft. Like it's funny to me. Like
Yeah.
fuck
That's
you.
where the
non-Twitter.
jungle being came from as well. That group chat. The
Oh.
eldritch being.
The Yoda, the Eldritch being.
Yeah,
the
the
Yoda kid.
bootleg Yoda that acts as the one of the recurring villains of the jungle. Yeah, he came from that.
Sometimes villain. Sometimes
He's like
it's
sometimes villain, sometimes hero.
something.
He's
something.
he's a hero right now because Wood Ape is trying to save him.
Right. Ethan and I mentioned this last time.
Mhm.
It's such an interesting abstract thing. He said like it's not necessarily roleplay what we're doing. You're right. It's kind of like that, right? It's almost like making fun of roleplay in a way. Because if we were taking it seriously, we wouldn't have chosen monkeys and Seymour Skinner.
Yeah, exactly.
We would have chosen
Exactly.
someone we like.
Yeah, that's the thing that when I said I didn't like parody accounts at first, this is why I don't like them, or this is the aspect that I don't like about them though. The like completely serious in characterness of them, like
There are
like
some
when-
that take it.
so I think Donkey Kong's a good example because he's funny, but when you react to something 100% as your character, no creativity whatsoever, it's not funny. It's just
No,
it's just role playing, which if you're into that is fine, but like it's not funny, so why should I care?
at that point, it becomes much less of a parody account
Yeah.
because if your parody is
Mhm.
more normally inherently funny,
Yeah.
right? Like it's supposed to be like, oh, I'm making fun of Mario from Mario.
Yeah. I'm not sure parody is the right word for most of us, because I'm not sure I would consider myself a parody of Seymour Skinner. I'm more of a readaptation of Seymour Skinner. A reinterpretation of Seymour
At this point,
Skinner.
like after a year of brand new stories starring mostly primates, yeah, I can imagine why you would think that for sure.
Yeah.
But for some people, it not many accounts do it properly. But yeah, I can think of like definitely Bellsprout is a really good parody.
Absolutely.
Grookey's really good.
Yeah, I
There's
think
a parody too.
I think a lot of accounts do it well, and a lot of accounts don't. And
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is just that like I don't think parody is the right word for most of us. I don't know what the right word would be for most of us, but I don't think we're technically like parodies. We just
almost like-
say parody, but whatever.
Some people might be embarrassed to do roleplay stuff, so they see this sort of
That's true. That's very true.
parody thing, and they're like, oh, I can do this.
I think let your roleplay flag fly if that's what you're into.
no shame.
Like
Honestly,
I'm
it's just a
I'm
thing.
perfectly fine calling this roleplay. It's just like
It technically is
yeah, it's technically roleplay. It's just like
playing a role.
comedic roleplay, perhaps is the word. Idiot roleplay. It reminds me of those Tumblr roleplay threads. I was never
love
on.
those.
I was never on Tumblr. I didn't like Tumblr very much. But
Oh yeah,
those
but
threads are
I just
very
saw a
funny.
tweet about them or something.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's
Yeah,
very good.
where nobody's in character and it's all it's completely ridiculous. Like that's what
Yeah.
that's the good roleplay. That's funny.
I think that essence, chaoticness, and sort of like oh, it's me.
Mhm.
Seymour
Chaoticness,
Skinner.
aka chaos.
Thank you. Sorry,
Yeah.
can I? I'm leaving it in. Fuck it. I deserve that. I'm taking the L for that one. But like that level of sort of like, oh, it's me, Lightning McQueen from Cars, and I'm here to say this. Like that essence definitely was what maybe brought Jungle Thick to life in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
me, the baboon. I'm here with Seymour Skinner from Simpsons.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
it's
great.
wacky.
Wacky and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got another question for you here.
Okay.
How has Seymour Skinner and Jungle Thick as a whole, how has that affected your life outside of Twitter?
Not at all.
Not at all? You never
I
mentioned
mean,
it
I
before?
have more friends, I guess, because I know all you guys,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is good. But other than that, that really hasn't done anything. I just have
Okay.
more people to talk to, which is always cool.
It is nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, one thing that I mentioned in the other episode was for a while when I started out, like I said monkey things a bit more often than I did. Like I went ugh, like I started typing OGH to people.
Oh, yeah. No,
But like
everyone
other than
hasn't.
that,
I don't say ho ho or anything like outside of school.
not a big fan of
No, I
fast
think
food.
I think the only thing that's really changed for me is this, that now I have this community which I'm happy to be a part of and I'm so grateful. But it hasn't really changed anything like in my outside life. Not really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's one of the things that maybe you don't get recognized for as much, but definitely people who know definitely know this. You're really good musically. Like you've got a lot of musical talent.
I suppose so.
There's an entire secret Google Drive that we have of songs you've made for the jungle.
Yeah, that we
tap
haven't.
into
That we
once in
haven't.
a while.
I don't think we've used any of them yet.
Haven't we used a couple of them for a couple of the art posts? I feel like maybe I've used one.
Maybe you have. Yeah.
One of them was, I think, for when Freddie died.
No. I didn't. I don't think I had even started writing the music when. Well, I know I probably did, but no, we didn't use any of that for him.
Anyway, that aside, one of the biggest examples of that too that was public for sure was when Woodape died, and you wrote him a little song, a little ditty.
Yeah. That
was stuck in my head for months afterwards.
Really?
It was nice.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I actually wrote that as a theme song for the Bechtel Basement, which is this show. So my school district, my high school district that I used to go to, had a like a technology center where all three schools would send kids over there on buses if they have like classes that require any sort of hands-on training. So like they had like a mechanic shop, and they had like whatever you call a place where barbers work that isn't a barber shop. I don't know. They would test barbering. They had like a little restaurant there where students made the food in the restaurant, and they had a studio. They had both a studio and like a computer room for editing, which I went to study like film and editing and stuff like that. And that class we produced, and they still do produce, just not with me because I'm not there anymore. But we produced a show called The Bechtel Basement. It was just sort of a silly, sort of comedic news show that we did. Calling it a news show is, I think, a little reductive because it was much fancier than like high school like weekly news broadcast or whatever. Like we used to do shoots on location and stuff like that. I think they're much fancier now than when I was there. When I was there, it was mostly we just used to do comedy bits because we usually couldn't actually go like fancy places, so we would just make something up and film that instead. But it was fun, and we used to do like games and stuff. But in the final episode, I was one of the hosts. In the final episode of that season, before I left, I wrote a song for that, and then I reworked the lyrics of that to
be the Woodape song.
To be the Woodape song, yeah. That show actually has more than that to do with Jungle Thick, because that's where I met Plush Monkey, and Plush Monkey who got me into all this.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada, yeah.
but yeah, no, I remember I was once toying with the idea of making a Jungle Thick like soundtrack.
Ooh.
And
yeah, because you do music too, right? You made the Woodape beat.
Yeah, that doesn't really count as music. It was more like a track, really.
I see.
It repeated over and over again. It wasn't musically as impressive as some of the stuff that you've put out, I guess. But yeah, no, I liked the idea of having like an actual official soundtrack or something like that, right? And then having like a list of names. And I thought Only You would be a really funny thing, like Only You, and then in open brackets like an ode to Woodape or something, which is like the caption.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, we should. I should remaster that.
Mastered. I am officially endorsing that. Behind the Bar endorsed.
Well, we've talked about we've juggled the idea of doing a Jungle Christmas album.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Like from the perspective of like, remember in Spider-Verse when Spider-Man had a Christmas album, but it was just garbage. I like that idea.
No, it would be absolutely terrible, but it would be fun. It would be fun to do.
It'd be fun, yeah. We'd have that. We'd have that forever to always look back.
Yeah, I can definitely produce tracks, and Soy plays the guitar.
He does. Oh
It'd
my
be
god, his
fun,
Monkey
yeah.
Time theme song.
Soy has a beautiful voice as well. He is a very good singer.
It's a remarkable. Like
Yeah.
again, another thing we talked about in the last episode. But there is so much talent that we've just kind of stumbled across in this community. Like everyone's got their own little skill.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We can accomplish if we had any kind of driving force behind us, which we normally don't.
Mm-hmm.
But again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the episode, you keep us in check,
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
But I can't. I can't like make myself the jungle leader.
Oh
like,
no,
yeah. So
the
like
best part is that there isn't really a leader, which is part of the joke. Sometimes it's like be sure to DM. But it's nice when one person
Jums and Milkade.
leader of Jungle Thick. No,
if you're listening to this, DM Baboon Gems right now, and
no one's even done it.
send him a picture of your feet, and say,
actually, maybe,
is this good enough to be put in Jungle Thick? Yeah,
see how that goes, man. I'm not saying no to that one. I'll take feet picture. No, but it's never ever been like that. That's the thing, is that no one's like the leading force behind much of anything. But if anyone's taken the role of keeping us on track more than anybody, it's definitely been Harrison.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that especially applies to our sister show, Monkey Time.
Yes,
original,
Monkey Time.
On which you appear as P Monkey. I'm curious to know how many people who are listening to this right now knew that you were Skinner, because you've never decided to appear as Seymour Skinner on that show.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason is because I just think it would be weird for Seymour Skinner to be on the Monkey Show. I think it would be bizarre.
Yeah, and it's got Monkey Time came into its own because you decided to be Piss Monkey, and a lot of the best jokes come from that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean it's a different character, and you don't do as much like actual story posting with the dirty man.
Yeah, I think everyone knows
really do.
I think everyone knows that I'm Piss Monkey though, because I mean, it's possible some people have forgotten because or don't know, because I think I only said that a very long time ago.
Right.
But all of our lists, we only have like 7 consistent listeners, so I think they're all people who would know who I am.
And we love them.
We do love them, yes.
We love them dearly. We're doing this for them and us. We're pretty selfish.
Yes.
Okay, so
Ask
you mentioned
me another question, Joe.
I've got a question for you. I got a hot one coming in right now. You mentioned that you don't, Jungle Thick doesn't affect your life very much, but have you told friends and family that you are Seymour Skinner on Twitter?
No.
No?
I have 2 friends who know. They're my closest friends.
One of the best kept secrets then. Okay.
Nobody else knows.
Because when I started out as Joe, I remember I got like my first 150 followers, and I was like, Mom, Dad, you're never gonna believe this.
No,
I'm a monkey on Twitter, and I get more followers than my main.
See, I live a double life.
By day, just Harrison.
No, see, with you guys, and with a few of my closer friends, I do Skinner stuff. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I do nerdy and weird things. But outside of that, like, I cannot live that life. Like, with the other friends I have, I cannot be that person.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into your private second life if you don't want to. That is an interesting thing. I never really thought about that before. What you see is kind of what you get with me. I'm not really I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I make monkey jokes with my friends too, and they don't always love them, but that's just the kind of person.
Well, see, it's just that most of my closer friends are like my newer friends, but then the other friends I hang out with are like people I've known a long time, and they just kind of ended up being different people than I am. So I want to keep hanging out with them because I like them. But
I get that.
And I think we all make compromises like that for certain friend groups.
Like it's impossible to go about life only talking to people that you completely agree with.
Yeah, exactly. You have
That's
to.
what makes conversations interesting too.
Yeah.
Like, well, I think this, without it being a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so don't have much left. We've talked about a lot so far today. We can go over, though. I'm interested to see maybe more about, like, when did you decide that you wanted to be a part of Parody Twitter too? Like when about was that?
Probably during Urban Sprawl.
Okay. Because around that time,
I think it was when RoboKong showed up, and this was before RoboKong was part of a planned DKCU arc. This was when he just showed up.
That's right, yeah.
And he just started tweeting at them and being like, "I'm gonna be a bad guy," and I was like, "Oh, so it's that easy? Okay, I'll do this too."
Okay.
And yeah, so then I just started doing that sort of thing. I was really bad at first. I was what we would consider today arc intruding, I think. But that faded out pretty quickly. And the community was smaller back then too, so arc intruding wasn't as big a deal.
Right, yeah.
Like, if it was a real problem, someone could just be like, "Hey, get out of here. Don't do that." And that would be fine. But also, like, it's very easy to incorporate other people into an arc without having planned it first. I mean, that's what I did for Urban Sprawl. Like, anybody who replied to a post, I was just like, "Oh, okay, you can hop it. That's fine." Yeah.
That's right,
yeah.
And
Urban Sprawl there were less people back then, and it was much easier to manage. You wouldn't be able to do that now, though.
No, definitely not. As much as I miss that, it'd be impossible to make a post like, "Hey, who's into this?" Because everyone would be, right?
Right.
But yeah, Urban Sprawl was interesting. Was that one before or after Kong Space? Do you remember?
After.
After, okay. So it wasn't necessarily the beginning of it, but it was a great example of parody Twitter and Jungle Thick coming together, becoming its own kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So my last question for you, we don't have to stop talking, but my last question that I have written down is, say you could go back, no, this isn't my last question, sorry, I've got two more. But if you could go back and do this whole thing over again from the very beginning, would you have changed anything at all? Would you have done anything different? It's a tough question because you're taking into consideration your entire life on Twitter as Seymour Skinner thus far.
My first arc I wouldn't have done because I ended up abandoning it anyway. The one where Seymour Skinner goes to hell to save Bart's soul.
That's right, yeah. We ended up smashing hell later anyway.
Yeah. All the other Springfield children go to heaven, but Bart goes to hell, so Seymour Skinner goes down to save him. And it turns out the Wombat's father is the ancient demon Prince Orcus. But I abandoned that arc because I had no motivation. It's the only arc I ever abandoned, and hopefully it's the only arc I ever will. But
if it means anything, I would love to see that. I would love to see
the end of that. I incorporated it into Hell Smashers. Basically, everything that I planned to do in that arc, except for Save Bart, I did in Hell Smashers, which, for those who don't know, is the one where Skinner teamed up with Jome. It was after Skinner came back from the dead, after the aftermath of Urban Sprawl. He teamed up with Jome, who else? Roach, Giratina,
Mario,
and Hotel Mario, and Woodape, right? Was Woodape? Yeah, Woodape was there, I think. I'm not positive about it. He might have not been there, but either Woodape or not Woodape. I teamed up with them to go stop Robert De Niro, who is Satan in this universe. Or I think I called him Asmodeus because I was going with D&D terms.
It was Asmodeus.
Yeah, and we defeated Asmodeus and his League of Evil.
And Chalmers as well.
Yeah, Chalmers was there. I revealed that Chalmers is the Lovecraftian deity Nyarlathotep. And I haven't done anything with that yet, but I one day will. I promise.
I mean, I don't know what to say besides I absolutely love your style of storytelling.
Yeah.
It's so unique. It's great. Like,
thank you.
I love the Seymour arcs.
I try to make Seymour arcs sort of like it's a combination of terrible 80s action movies, which I'm a fan of, and like mythology, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, no, there's this mythological. It reads like a lore book or something. Like and then
I'm a huge fan of like. I'm a huge fan of like D&D. I'm a huge fan of like Tolkien. I'm a huge fan of just like general mythology.
Yeah. It all shows for sure.
Yeah, lately I've actually been studying like Joseph Campbell and stuff, like the history of storytelling, and I just like to incorporate sort of that mythic aspect. I don't know if it shows up at all, but I try to incorporate that into my.
Is that like the hero's journey?
Yeah, he did the hero's journey. Well, now we call it the Western hero's journey because we know more about the way other cultures tell stories. But yeah, he came up with all that stuff.
It was like, I'm probably wrong about this, but that was like Greek mythology he was...
Oh, no, it applies to... His claim was it applies to all mythology. Since then, we say it applies to Western mythology. And I'm not positive about this. I might be wrong, but I think the term Western, when you're referring to storytelling, it also refers to like North Africa and the Middle East. But if you go like further into East Asia, like it's completely well, I wouldn't say completely different, but it's very different.
Yeah, no, I agree with that much for sure. I haven't looked into it much, but
why am I talking about that?
You know what? It does definitely apply to how we plan stories behind the scenes.
The hero's journey applies to our arcs. It applies to everything, pretty much.
Absolutely, yeah. You can. Yeah.
Okay, well, that was a stupid derail that we just went on.
I think every derail has merit. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. Okay, so my final question then.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see on Behind the Bar?
Behind the Bar? I don't know. I'd like to see all my jungle friends on the bar, like Soy Monkey. And
they will definitely all eventually be on.
And
but
Roach.
Who's your dream cast?
Of all the accounts I'd love to see on here, it's a really good question. I don't know. There's so many.
Best questions are hard to answer.
Someone controversial.
Controversial?
Yeah, I don't know who specifically, but yeah, that would be good. I would like that.
So Blondie Kong, why are you such an asshole?
No, don't do that. You gotta be impartial. I just think it would be fun to have someone a little bit. I guess I was controversial at one time, not really anymore.
What do you mean?
Just when I got like, I was in the right, obviously, but I said some political stuff and it got me in hot water.
Oh, you mean like the turf stuff?
No, it was after that.
Okay. Let's go into it.
Yeah, we don't have to
back in hot water.
I don't want to get in trouble again, but basically it was just how I think that complaining about heterophobia is really insensitive when there's like legitimate homophobia going on.
Well, I definitely don't mind saying on this show that there is no such thing as heterophobia.
Not in the way that there's no such thing as heterophobia if you consider it like the same as homophobia. I would say that there is such a thing as prejudice against straight people, but there's no such thing as like genuine systematic oppression against straight people.
There isn't.
If you're a straight person and you're being offended, you can just close your computer screen. You know.
The whole point is that straight people don't have to deal with any of that.
And like, if they do, I would say there are things that can be hurtful to straight people, but it's so much smaller and so much less important than like other things going on.
I completely agree.
And I respect other opinions. Like, I don't think you're a bad person for not wanting people to say hurtful things about a group of people. Like that obviously doesn't make you a bad person. I just think it's an issue of priorities.
It's like the All Lives Matter thing.
Yeah, like obviously all lives matter, but all lives are not being targeted.
Exactly. That's the problem. Certain people have. I'm gonna go over leaving that in or not. I think it was a good discussion, but I don't know. I mean,
it has nothing to do with what we were talking about. It's just, but anyway, yeah, that's why I was saying, because I said that was controversial for a bit. I was definitely one of the I was definitely on the receiving end of the parody drama at that point.
I don't remember that either.
It was only for like a week. It didn't last very long. Like I was saying, I just think it would be funny to have someone like that on here, just someone who and not to be mean to them or anything like that. Like, please don't be mean to them. I just think it would be fun to have. I just think it would be fun to have someone who is a little bit more controversial on here, for good or for bad. But I just think it would be fun.
Well, we'll see what the future holds for us. But I definitely have some people that I would like to have on. So I like all the opinions I can get. Well, yeah, I think that was a good episode we had.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Anything else you want to add before we close up shop for the day? I'll leave some links people can follow you at in the description below.
Sure. Let me name all my accounts really quick, if I can remember them. There is Seymour Skinner in a Jungle, obviously. There's Piss Monkey. There's Risotto from the JoJo's. There's Randy Savage from the WWF.
Love that one.
There is Heartless Monkey, who I co-run with Hotel Mario.
Okay.
There is... Well, no, I better not say this one. It's a secret.
One's secret. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Is that all of them? I genuinely can't remember.
You would know better than I would.
There are so many. I think that's all of them.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on.
Goodbye.
Close up shop.
All right.
Later, everyone. Signing off. Stay
Goodbye.
monkey. That was how we did it last time. We said stay monkey.
Stay monkey. And kiss your dad square on the mouth.
You don't have to do that.